I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
My dog went flying through the air over the tree. I don't know how it did it.
From baffling missing 411 cases that leave us questioning reality to the elusive and legendary creatures like Bigfoot, we are here to discuss it all.
By God, if a hand come from the other side of that fence, grab this thing by the head and neck, just one-timed it.
1 o'clock in the morning, I'm awakened by lights. Bright lights. I'm talking about, Josh, the lights were so bright, it looked like daytime, so I thought it was the morning.
There's just something going around, attacking our sheep. And my grandma used to talk about this guy, Ketso, that means, Bigfoot in our language, so.
If you have ever found yourself captivated by the unexplained or intrigued by the mysterious, you are in the right place. Welcome to Mysteries Unknown. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live. Hope you guys are doing all right. What's up, Daniel?
Guten Abend.
Man, you already throwing the accents out there in the different languages. This is going to be a good one tonight, guys. Y'all are in for a treat. We're excited about this podcast tonight. We're going to be talking about the Big Thicket Saga in Texas, and so Daniel's done his thing as usual and researched a lot of different encounters and things we're going to be talking about, but we're also going to be talking about some government, maybe possibly cover-ups, things like that associated with Bigfoot. A lot of questions that come up with these this story, and so we're going to be getting into all that tonight. But the important thing is, Daniel, what are you drinking tonight? What do you got?
Water.
Okay. I got. You guys know what I'm drinking. I got my Mysteries Unknown coffee, so. Should be good. I got a little bit bigger glass, so we should be good for a while. So,
hey, that coffee is amazing. Like I said, I'm not a coffee drinker, and whenever I do drink coffee, I've always put a lot of like Splenda in it, and like sugar-free creamer of some kind. And I wanted to get the true flavor, the true essence of your coffee.
The real deal.
And the real deal, man. And I drank it plain or black. And I had 2 cups. I liked it that much.
I'm glad, dude. That meant a lot. And it's one of these things like you put a product out there and you hope people like it. But it really is good coffee. I really, really love it. So I appreciate the shout out. So, hey, listen, water is good. Water's way better for you. But if we want these shows to be productive, I have to have my coffee. Just ask my wife. She'll tell you I can barely do anything without coffee. So, hey, Michelle, you're brewing up a pot of Mysteries Unknown coffee right now. That is awesome. That's the best way to drink that coffee is during the show. Chio Rio, what's up, buddy? I've been enjoying getting your emails, man. It's always good to hear from you. Good to hear from all the people in the chat, all the members, everybody out there. Bigfoot Society is here. What's up, Jeremiah? How are you doing, man? By the way, dude, I got to say thank you for all the kind words on your interview you had with Daniel. I really appreciate that, man. That means a lot coming from you. So we're excited about this one. I know tell them how many pages of notes you have for this live tonight.
18. And what I brought up, guys, I just pulled encounters. I found so many encounters. I was like, okay, I'm stopping at 18 pages. And then I saw one more. One more super cool story that I believe is not close to the Big Thicket, but I had to pull it. And when I read it, I was like, whoa, this is a pretty cool story. So
if you guys have never heard of that area, it's a really just there's a lot of wild stuff that goes on there, and people think. I mean, most people do. I was talking to a guy today about Bigfoot. It's funny because I bring it up now in a lot of conversations, but he was telling me, he goes, "Oh, you mean they only see that over on Washington State?" And I was like, "No, that's the most cited place, but Texas is up there. There's a lot of encounters in Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, different places like that." So I actually had not heard about this story until somebody brought it to our attention. I think, wasn't it somebody on the last live?
Yeah, it's Joe Bart.
Joe did. Okay.
Yep.
Well, Joe, thanks for bringing that up, man. But we're excited to dive into this. And Josh Hunter says, Texas here, man. Good to see you. Somebody from Texas representing. That is awesome. Flower Child Deb says, I'm drinking water. I need coffee. Listen, I really have to have my coffee. So you guys wouldn't want me to do this live without it. So anyways, but I'm excited to get into this, man. And I guess the best thing to do, man, is just jump right off in it. You know, I don't know if you have an order to these stories, but I'm excited to hear.
Well, they're kind of a little bit all over, but I'm just going to kind of give everybody just a little, because Amity said it's the first time she's hearing about the Big Thicket. Now I've heard about it. I just don't really pay a lot of attention to it. You know, you hear, oh, Oklahoma, oh, Texas, and and this and that. You know, and then you hear the LBL and things like that, and you hear about Eastern Tennessee, and, you know, and then when I really started digging into the Big Thicket, I was absolutely just, like I said, I had to stop myself.
Yeah.
So the Big Thicket is a name given to a somewhat imprecise region of a heavily forested area of southeast Texas in the United States. This area represents a portion of the mixed pine hardwood forests or piney woods of the southeast United States. The Big Thicket covers 113,122 acres that conservatively occupies all of Hardin County, most of Polk and Tyler County, and parts of Jasper, Liberty, and San Jacinto counties. It also includes areas between the Neches River on the east, the Trinity River on the west, Pine Island Bayou on the south, and to the higher elevations in older, I'm going to butcher this, but it's Eocene geological formations to the north. Okay. So there's a lot of different things going on in the Big Thicket. First thing that popped up was the wild man of the Big Thicket. One of the most compelling encounters of the Big Thicket occurred in 1962 when two young boys claimed to have had a face-to-face encounter with a massive ape-like creature. The boys, who were out hunting hogs, described this creature as standing around 7 to 8 feet tall with long, shaggy hair and a powerful muscular build. They claimed that the creature stared at them for several seconds before turning and bounding away at an astonishing speed, disappearing into the depths of the forest. Another, I say cryptid, is called the Lake Worth Monster. The Lake Worth Monster is a legendary creature who is said to inhabit Lake Worth at the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge just outside Fort Worth. This creature is often described as part man and part goat, with scales and long clawed fingers. Reported of sightings by local citizens of a half-man, half-goat with fur and scales in July of 1969 led to the belief that a mysterious creature lived in Lake Worth. Newspapers reported the alleged sightings, including one in which the monster landed on a man's car after jumping out of a tree, and another in which it threw an automobile tire at a group of people. Newspapers also published a photograph purportedly taken of the creature by Alan Plaster. The locals began driving out to the lake at night to get a look at it. Local police investigated the claims and found no evidence of the monster in the Lake Worth or Greer Island area. According to one reporter, the Goatman legend was spread via summer camp stories. where camp counselors told children to listen carefully, and you'll hear his cry on clear nights like tonight. Now, here's the thing. Joe told me about, and I couldn't find, I honestly did not have time to look for it, but apparently at a summer camp or a campground, something to that effect, there were like multiple people killed in that campground or that summer camp.
That's pretty wild, man.
So I'm going to do more digging on that. So yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need to. I'd never heard any of these stories until you started the dig and stuff. But I found that picture from him, and I'm trying to get it uploaded in here so we can show everybody that photo. Okay. If it'll pop up. There we go. Okay. Hang on, let it load. But yeah, I wonder how far away from that where those people were killed, like if there were any sightings that had popped up, if in that area.
Well, I'll definitely do some digging on that. Yeah, I'll get some more information from Joe. And there's Joe. He's repping Sasquatch Chronicles. Yeah, it's like episode 243. And from what I understand, and I listened to it again this morning.
Nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with repping that. That's a great channel. Here's that photo, guys, that guy took. So, that's definitely.
I don't know about you. That does not look like a half goat, half man to me. That looks like a Sasquatch.
That's exactly what that looks like. I wonder if it's just because it's black and white, but that's awfully light. That's really light. That kind of reminds me of what I saw with my wife about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it was real light, white like that. So, hey, James Hargraves is in the house. Really good friend of mine. We've been friends a long time ago, way, way back. You talking about somebody who's an amazing comedian. You need to go check him out. Really funny stuff, man. He does good stuff. But it's good to see everybody. Greasebag McQueen's in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you tonight. Good to see everybody. But anyways, let's get back to the stories. That was pretty scary stuff, man, off the bat, right off the bat, that's pretty scary.
Oh, they get better.
We're just getting there, guys. So stay with us. We're going to get in it good tonight.
So this was in April of 2012, Liberty County, Texas. This report goes, I am 56-year-old of sound mind with many of those years spent hunting and exploring Liberty County and other East Texas woods and bottoms. I continue my passion of wilderness backpacking with recent trips to the toughest areas in Big Bend National Park and a solo backpack on the Eagle Rock Loop in Arkansas. How do you say that mountain range?
Washita,
where I came face to face with a bear. I am curious but composed when I get into the woods and not inclined to overreact to critical incidents in the wild. The other night, Tuesday, while walking at the edge of Liberty that leads down towards uninhabited Trinity Bottoms, I saw something. Disclaimer, although I did see something, I acknowledge that the mind plays tricks on perceptions and imaginations. Fill in the gaps around what you see and don't see. I've taken several days of sobriety sift the conclusions that I will now share. So this guy still wasn't sure what he saw and decided, I'm not going to drink anything. I'm not going to do anything. I want to be as sound mind as I possibly can so I can go over what I saw. And this is what he found or saw. At about 10:30 p.m., I was walking alone in an area on the edge of Liberty that leads down towards the Trinity Bottoms. My mind was completely at ease and drifting around various projects, backpacking, memories, and dreams of purchasing a new gun. The night was clear, and I was enjoying the moon and the stars. I carried my trusty old golf club for safety. All of a sudden, a supercharged adrenaline rush focused all of my concentration on movement on my side of the trees located about 50 yards in front of me. You have to experience these moments, from daydreaming to insanity or instantly tense, all in fight or flight. In a fraction of a second, my arms and hands began tingling, my ears rang with a TV static kind of sound, and my vision and hearing became sharply acute. Whether or not my perception is accurate, this instantaneous psychological rush was 100% real. It was a time standstill, brief loss of motor skill moment. My adrenaline focused involuntary, targeting a large, shoulder high to the lower limbs of a sizable tree. A bipedal, something walking deliberately around a tree and down towards the bottoms. The walk was upright, but a little hunched from upper mid back. Upper mid back up, and the head was erect. The color was a burntish red gray, more of a gray in a second. The walk was a swaying gait of that of a Star Wars Wookiee, but quite a bit less exaggerated, with knees slightly bent. The swinging arc of the right arm was very visible. Relative to my location, it was walking from left to right. And I saw this arm, wrist, hand was something longer than normal human proportions. It used its left hand to push aside a limb. It took a brief glance looking at me and moonlight. The center of his face was less hairy and seemed to be slightly more gray. It made the moonlight made this visible, the standard eye, nose, forehead, jaw features of a hairy face. This glance did not slow its motion. In fact, the deliberate motion became more purposeful as it pushed around the tree and back into the thicker trees. Note, this was a 2 or 3 second glimpse before it disappeared into the thicker trees or brush. My reaction was instant. I called my wife on my cell phone and told her that I just saw something and that I was getting the heck out of there fast. Instead of following the trail, it would have taken me nearer to the location of the glimpse. I tore straight through from where I stood to a gate out of the area and closer and more developed liberty. That was it.
Well, I mean, that's enough, right? I mean,
that is
pretty intense.
That's a perfect account. I mean, the descriptions, plus he's a good writer.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, he did a really good job of writing that out, and it's believable. It's really, I like the ones where you feel like you're right there. It puts you right there with them. So that's really, really good. So these are all in the Big Thicket area, right?
Yeah. Well, okay.
Yes.
So what it is remember the counties that the Big Thicket encompasses. Mm-hmm. So I went and I pulled these. Yeah. I pulled every single encounter within those counties.
I'm really surprised that has never come up with me and you as much as, and as, you know, being in Arkansas, it's crazy. I'm like, I can't believe I've never heard of that before, but man, there's a massive amount of activity in that area. And we're going to talk about later on some weird stuff that popped up with our government, a lot of different strange stuff in that area, and maybe why they're trying to, you know, cover this stuff up possibly. But I want to interject something really quick, guys, and get real personal with you for a minute. I very rarely do that about my personal life, but I need a favor, man. My wife Stacy, has been extremely sick it's been a long time. Very, very, very sick. And I firmly believe in the power of prayer. And we'll get back to Bigfoot in a second. But if you guys could take a second when you're praying and in your time and remember my wife in her health, I really appreciate that. So I want to interject that because it's important to me. And I love this community that we're building. And so just want to throw that out there. So I very rarely do stuff like that, but I wanted to do that. So hope that's all right with everybody.
Every night, every morning. I already told you that.
Yeah. You always do, man. I'm so grateful for that. So.
All right. You guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. The power of prayer. Let me real quick. My stepdad was terminal, and it was not looking good. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I honestly believe that the prayers that I was doing and other people were doing, we got one more year with my dad. We got one more year with him. And he passed away 1 month to the day of his 60th birthday. And the day after my little sister's 14th birthday. And the doctor said there was no reason for him to live past that. But I believe that my stepdad, I believe that he willed himself one more day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, man, definitely. So, guys, one thing you'll get with this show with me and Daniel, and we're just gonna be real with you guys. I mean, who you see is what you get with me and him. And I'm not afraid to talk about prayer and Jesus and all that on this channel. Never hit any of that, but appreciate everybody in the comments. You guys are awesome. And family's important to me. Family's important to Daniel. He loves his family. You can tell. And lost heart. Sorry for your loss, though, man. And I bet that he did will himself to stay on. To hold on. So
I believe so.
Yeah. All right, guys. A couple of other things, and we'll get back to these stories too. If you watched the last live, my wife wanted to do something special again for the members of this channel and just people that are watching. But last time she did a gift package for everybody who joined at the $2.99 and above tier. But what we're going to do this whole month is if you join $6.99 or above on that tier, we're going to be doing a drawing at the end of the month. And somebody's going to get a bag of Mysteries Unknown coffee and a really large signed poster, really cool poster. So you want to make sure that if you do join and it's $6.99 or above, that you send me an email. You let me know. And so that applies to people that are in those tiers now. So don't worry. We're going to do a drawing and love the community that we're building. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us. We always have a really, really good time and have fun. And so I'm excited to hear the rest of these stories, but man, like it sounds like to me, Daniel, that we need to go down to the Big Thicket, man, and do some filming is what I think we ought to do.
Well, I mean, after we read some of these stories,
maybe not.
I'll tell you why we shouldn't. And
maybe not.
I think that'll be a good segue into what you want to talk about the Big Thicket as well.
Yeah, okay? That'd be good. We got some good stuff, so stay with us, guys. We got some really good stuff.
Now, you guys, these stories are going to be going, around. I try to get them in chronological order from like newest to oldest, but then as I was reading more, I saw more that were newer or older. So I'm sorry, they're a little bit all over the place. So this one is in San Jacinto County, Texas, near Shepherd. This happened April of 2005. It was approximately midnight in late April 2005 when me and 3 other friends were hiking in the Sam Houston National Forest. The weather was clear and the temperature was approximately 80 degrees. We had stopped to take a break, and 2 of the 3 friends that were with me had gone up ahead of me and the other guy. When me and my buddy were resting and talking about where we were going to go next, we heard a long, drawn-out howl, like the Ohio howl, on this website. So I pulled this stuff on a pretty. It was the North American Wood Ape Society. I think that's what it is. I pulled all these off of their website. Their website is amazing. I interrupted my friend and told him to listen. Approximately 30 seconds later, we heard it again, identical to the Ohio howl. The howl lasted for about 7 to 8 seconds both times. The house came from approximately 500 to 700 yards away through the woods. I have heard even variations of howls of every known animal in these woods, and this sounded like no normal animal. My buddy and I that were in a group and asked them had they heard anything strange. They replied, no. This incident occurred in the Sam Houston National Forest in May of 2005. It looks like this is a second occurrence. At approximately midnight, a friend and I decided to go on an expedition of our own down near the east fork of the San Jacinto River off of FM 2025. I guess that's a highway or a road. We were approximately, We were approximately 3 to 4 miles off the roadway down on the river in the thick of the woods. We set up and then waited to let the noise from us getting prepared to die down. After about 30 minutes of silence, I did my best impersonation of the Ohio howl that I could in a series of 3, but got no response. We waited for a while longer, and then I did it again in a series of 3 howls. And to our surprise, something hollered back at us that was within 200 yards. It wasn't the same as the Ohio howl, but it was a long, loud, deep growl, unlike a hog snorting, and it did the approximately 3 or 4 times. After it did that, there was a long series of chattering noises that came from 2 different animals in front and behind us, but we never could see them. This went on for about a minute. My friend that was with me got instantly freaked out and jumped on his 4-wheeler saying, "Come on, let's get out of here." I was able to convince him to wait and listen. We waited for about another 20 minutes until we heard nothing but insects again. I told my friend to keep watch, that I was going to try something that Daryl Collier had told me about. So I picked up a stick the size of a man's forearm and hit one of the nearby trees 6 times in a row, then stopped. I did this 3 times in about 20-minute span. After the 3rd time, from the other side of the river, we could clearly hear something that sounded just like what I was doing. Banging a limb on the side of a tree, and it sounded like it had some force behind it. Whatever it was, I did this about 1 or 2 more minutes and quit. We waited a while, and I hit the tree again, as well as did imitations of the Ohio howl, but never got another response. We waited a while, but never heard anything but coyotes again after that. I guess it is possible for woodpeckers to be up at night at 2 a.m. However, highly unlikely. I had never heard anything like the chattering we heard that night that made our hair stand up. The low, deep grunts or growls were not hogs and did not sound like anything like a hog. However, we never actually saw them. We scouted the area for a few days before, and I discovered 3 old footprints in the sand on the riverbank. I can make out a large impression easily. It was old but too indistinct to get a technical with. However, the area we were at very seldomly seen human encroachment. But once again, it is possible that it was a human track. Whatever it was, it had 3 human-like footprints in the sand. We heard howls, chatter, growls, and knocking on trees.
Whew, that's a lot of activity, man.
Yes, that was.
You know, I've never had an encounter, late at night in the woods like you have. I mean, you guys had a pretty harrowing encounter with your dad and your family at night. You guys had something like that happen, man. That's got to be extremely, extremely terrifying, knowing that you are that far out and it's that kind of situation. I mean, that's not something that I definitely want to find out what that feels like.
Nope. I mean, especially when you're laying in bed and you hear, 6x12s creaking under the weight of something massive, and it's right outside your door.
Mm-mm. No thanks. No thanks. I mean, I had my encounter at night, when I was a kid, but I was in my house. It was 20 yards away. You know what I mean? I can't imagine something that close, man. So that's pretty crazy. Guys, if you're enjoying this podcast tonight, please like and share. Try something new tonight. I normally don't post anything on my personal page about this channel, and tonight I posted a link to this live on Facebook. So if you got Facebook, share it there. Help us out, and we just love hanging out with you guys. So Appreciate everybody in the chat. If we've missed you, we'll get to you. We really are appreciative of you guys. We like to talk to you guys in the chat. If this is your first time, let us know. So it's always good to see everybody. So let's see. Hello, my first live chat. I'm always catching them late because of work. I understand that, man. Mic check. I totally understand that, man. So
Natchez, is that how you say it? Don't fear the Reaper. Natchez. Okay.
Oh, Natchez, gotcha.
I gotcha. Yeah, man. Thank you for the correction. You guys, I am not above taking any type of assistance, criticism, whatever. I want to give you guys the best product ever. If you guys get a giggle out of how I pronounce something, then don't correct me. But if it bothers you, please let me know, and I'll do my best.
Yeah, we don't. That stuff's not going to hurt our feelings. I'm dyslexic, so if you see something backwards in the chat, just laugh with me, because we're just two guys enjoying every bit of this. And listen, I keep wanting to call you a country boy because I know that you got it in you. I know you got the accent. So we're just two country boys out here having fun with talking about Bigfoot and hanging out with you guys. So
hell yeah,
you got that accent, man.
All right,
if you want to.
Well, here's another one. This one's from November 2004 in Hardin County, Texas, near Lakeview, Texas. Me and my son had gone hunting that morning. He was hunting for wood ducks. I told him while he hunted, I'd go back in the woods to hunt for some deer. I walked down a dry creek bed 100 yards or so and proceeded to go into the woods to sit by a tree. As I was walking into the thicket, something made a noise, almost like a low whistle. I thought I might be walking upon another hunter. So I slowly backed out, dropped back down into the dry creek bed, and when I did this, I turned around to see if I could spot the hunter. As I looked, I saw something I thought was waving at me. But then I saw that it wasn't waving, it was grabbing a branch to stand up. When it did, it stood up, and I thought first it was a man hunting in a ghillie suit. This thing proceeded to walk off, and I could see its arm swinging, and I could see no gun. Me not believing in Bigfoot, I went back to where my son was and told him there was a man back there in a ghillie suit. We finished hunting that day and never heard a boat or saw anyone else out there. 2 months before this, we were out squirrel hunting about a mile from the same spot, and something came screaming at us through the woods. I'd never heard anything like that before in my life. When we both had shotguns and we were still backing up, it sounded like King Kong coming through them woods. Soon after, I watched a documentary on Bigfoot. That's when I really started to realize it was Bigfoot I saw in them woods. Did not look, but there was always prints that I thought were some other hunters around. It was like a flat, low whistle that I heard of the same pitch. The other time was like a blood-curdling roar. I would guess it would probably be 6 to maybe 6.5 feet tall and a lot hairier than most pictures I've ever seen. It was dark in the woods, but it also looked to kind of be like matted hair with mud. I never smelt it or saw its face as it was walking kind of parallel away from me. There's that country.
Man, like thick country. You got a lot of good comments on that one, man. People really wanted to hear that accent. So he's a jack of all trades, man. Where do you want him to talk like he's from? I mean, he can do it across the nation.
Sounded like a sputtering lawnmower here.
That's great, man. Also, if you guys don't know, Daniel will also sing to you happy birthday if it's your birthday. So just throwing that out there. If you want to get sang to happy birthday, just let us know in the chat and he'll tell you, he'll sing it to you. So we got James here from upstate New York. What's up, man? Good to see everybody. Got a lot of new people in the chat tonight. Donnie's a longtime listener, first time here on the live. Glad to have you here. So excited that everybody's here. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far and having a good time hanging out with us. If you are just jumping on, we are talking about, what are we talking about, Daniel?
We're talking about the Big Thicket down there in southeast Texas.
That's it. Here's my theory. And you're really, from what the stories you're reading really make me think that, like, the further south you get, the more aggressive these things are. That's my opinion. But if that's true, why do you think that is? What's your thoughts on it? Well,
everybody says it's the humidity, things like that. But here's the thing: I'm not really sure. I'm not honestly. Again, the one that I encountered, exactly, territorial. That's definitely one thing. But these creatures are territorial across the world. The sighting that I saw in Washington, when I was 12, 13 years old, she was I'm not saying she was passive, but she was very, very kind in a way. Like, to me, she was just kind of like checking things out, seeing that we're okay. The two juveniles that my brother had interactions with, they were playful. The large alpha male, he was there. Just his presence was kind of uneasy, but he never showed aggression. And then the young adult, he was the aggressive one, but he was kept in check by the alpha male and the female.
Yeah.
The one down south where was the last encounter I had was with my brother. That one was extremely aggressive. To the point it even threw something at me. And if my brother wouldn't have moved me, it would have taken I don't think it would have taken my head off, but it would definitely hit me in the head. And, it would have definitely probably put me out. So,
for sure, man. The way these things can throw stuff, that, like the lady who was on there from Kentucky a couple episodes back, this thing was throwing rocks at their kids and at them and hitting them and everything else. I mean, these things get extremely aggressive and they are territorial, but like you said, they're territorial everywhere.
And then look at Chester, the one from West Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that chased him and literally, like, tried to grab him, and in doing so ripped his shirt and scratched his back. So,
it's wild. I can tell you that, my encounter when I was 14 years old, nothing like that happened, but you could tell that it did not like me. I mean, I could tell by looking at it. There was nothing but just hate there. I mean, there was nothing but hate. It was just like, it was not happy that I was there. I felt that. Did I hear anything? No, but I sure could feel there was a lot of tense, a lot of tenseness in the air, and just this. It was just not a good time. Just put it that way.
Yeah.
But so I don't know, man. It's just one of those other mysteries, and who knows why? I don't know, but it's really one of those things. But let's see who else we got. We got a lot of new people. Louis says hello from South Texas. What's up from South Texas? Let's see. Good to see everybody. I do have a question for you, Daniel.
What's up?
So, with all these things that we've been studying, all these stories and things like that, do you really think that there's that many more in Washington State, or do you think it's just that they get reported more for whatever reason, or do you think that they're spread out kind of evenly across the country, or do you think they're just in pockets? I just wanted to know your opinion on it. I've never asked you that. As much as we talked about this, I've never asked you that.
Well, the reason I think there's more up in the Pacific Northwest is that if you do a topical view of the state of Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and the Pacific Northwest, their forests are more dense. There are still parts probably up in Washington State, even going up into Canada, that either human eyes have never seen it, or very, 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 very few have seen it, because it is so dense the forests are up there. It's crazy. So, but like Joe said, yeah, there's definitely pockets because I mean, we're getting more populated.
Yeah.
And you know, as our population grows, their habitat shrinks. And I think what you're going to see now, honestly, I bet you in the next 30 years, you're going to see a lot more interactions. And I can't remember who told me, and I'm going to go off of Bigfoot on here. I'm going to go with this one. This has to do with the Dogman. Someone had told me, and I think the person is in the chat, and I'm not going to divulge that person yet, unless they want me to. They know someone, or they themselves had a sighting of a Dogman in a city, in an urban area. So I'm just telling you guys, I mean, like right now, I wish I won the Powerball. I wish I won like a $500 million Powerball, because I would go like up in the Pacific Northwest, Montana, northern Idaho, and I would buy as much land as I possibly could. I would build myself a cabin on there, and anything that lived in those woods or that area, protected 100%. 100%. And I would not allow anybody to come on that land. Hey, I heard you. Nope. You know what? Get off my land. For real. You know?
For real, for real.
Because here's the thing. I've had people, you had all those experiences and you never got a picture, you know, and all those type of things. Yeah, I didn't. And you know, over the years thinking about it, I'm glad I never had pictures. I'm really glad. I mean, I would love to see one so perfect.
Yeah, but there's a stigma that comes around. Like, if you get this picture, let's say you get the perfect picture, nobody's going to believe you anyways. No. They're not going to believe it. So what does it matter? And you brought up some really great points. And, you know, I agree with you. I think that, you know, our population's growing and their territory is shrinking. And so I think that they are spread out in pockets like that. But, you know, you brought up a point that you mentioned somebody who knew had a Dogman sighting in a populated city area. I had a guy on the show, and he was telling me about an encounter he had in Illinois, but he lives in Oklahoma City. And he told me, he's like, I can take you to where they are. They are in the city. I can take you and show you where they're at. And so I personally have never heard of an encounter with somebody like that. Now, Janet, guys, Janet's a member. And she actually came on the show, and I interviewed her the other day, and she had an encounter, and it was really close to Kansas City, the actual city. So we'll be dropping her interview soon. But, you know, these things are popping up everywhere. But I just wanted to know your thoughts and opinions on that. I was really surprised. I was thinking about the other day. I never talked to you about that as much as me and you talk about this stuff. So,
right. You know, I
think what Bigfoot Society, I'm sorry, I just get off, but you're right. Like, Janet said, when you see them, you don't think about taking a picture. Who does? You're not going to stop and say, let me get my phone and take a picture. It's just, you're not going to, you know? I mean, I would rather, I believe somebody who tells their story and says, listen, I was so caught up in the moment. I was so scared. You're not thinking about that, because it's not how your mind works. So
hold on. I gotta do this one real quick.
Okay.
Hell yeah, West by God, Virginia. I used to live in Huntington, West Virginia. That's where my mama was born. Huntington, West Virginia.
West Virginia. Let us know, guys, where you're from.
Bro, it's not West Virginia. It's West by God, Virginia.
It's West Virginia. West Virginia. Not to make anybody mad.
Okay.
That's like, it irritates me.
So it's Arkansas.
That's the thing. People say that. It's like Arkansas. Like, no, it's Arkansas. That's funny.
Or it's Illinois. And so Illinois.
Yeah. No. It's funny, man. Like, I get in trouble all the time with my accent. I can't pronounce stuff right, man, at all. So, you know, it is what it is. So hopefully nobody gets offended. Do our best on the show. But we got people from all over, upstate New York. Let's see, East Texas, Central Illinois, Williamson, West Virginia, Superfly is here. Actually, I interviewed him this week. His interview will be dropping, I believe, Monday. Really good one, guys. You do not want to miss it. Yes, guys, check this out. Every Monday at 11 or 11:30, I drop a new interview. You guys do not want to miss that. Jeremiah, you didn't have to do that, man. That is awesome. Guys, if you love this channel, and I'm not just saying it, if you love this channel, you need to go check out Bigfoot Society if you have not. I don't know how you haven't. Like, he is one of the best out there. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much, man. Go check out Daniel's interview on his channel. Really good one. Really, really good. Really good interview.
Oh,
that is awesome.
Man, we got PA, we got New York, man. So I love it. You guys, thank you so much for jumping on. You know,
Nebraska, Dakota,
it's getting
Ohio.
crazy. I love it.
You know, we try our best to make this a safe place for people to talk about this stuff and then just to share their encounters. So this is a good time to segue into that. If you've got an encounter that you've been sitting on and want to share, please reach out to me, MysteriesUnknownPodcast@gmail.com. Would love to have you on the show. So,
you know, one of my earliest paranormal experiences that I had was when I lived in Huntington, West Virginia.
There's a lot of stuff in West Virginia, man. I mean, that's where Chester's encounter happened at. You know, there's a lot.
We stumbled across an old, overgrown cemetery with like it could have been maybe a church at one time. Yeah. Me and my cousin.
There's a lot of, no thanks, man. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm good. But you know, here's my thing, man. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not on this channel, and it's just kind of by chance. I have gotten so many reports and people reaching out to me with a lot of strange stuff from you. You want to guess what state this just popped up out of nowhere?
Let's see. Colorado.
North Carolina, man.
Oh yeah, of course. North
Carolina.
Easy.
And it's mostly Dogman encounters.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's pockets, they're there. I don't know what that is or why that is, man, but there are so many Dogman encounters in that area. It just blows my mind. So I don't know. But let's see. Locked in Street Racing says one day I'll share mine when I'm ready. Yeah, please do. I would love to hear it. And if you guys just have an encounter or something strange you want to send to me or Daniel, I promise you that we are your gatekeepers with that stuff. It will not go any further. So if you're not ready to share, but you want to get your story off the chest, send it to us. Or if you want us to read your story on one of these lives, let us know. Definitely we'll do that. So we love to do this stuff. And hopefully you guys are having a good time with us tonight. Tonight, I think, is a good time to talk about tonight's sponsor. If I can do this without messing it up like I did last time, Daniel. So fingers crossed, guys. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Since the beginning of time, man has tried to solve this one mystery. Why is coffee so stinking good? Solve the mystery with Mysteries Unknown Coffee. The truth is out there.
Got to get you some coffee.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
You better have a craft somewhere off camera that you can refill that cup, because you flew.
No,
like it was almost.
I don't. I'm halfway done, but I do have a large cup of iced tea, so I think we're good for a while. So,
all right,
I think we're good, man. You ready to get back into these stories, man? I know people are waiting for that. So,
all right, this one is a pretty interesting one as well. This happened in May of 2004 in Liberty County, Texas, near Cleveland, Texas. My wife and I were crossing the Trinity River on Highway 105 just before sunset on May 29th, 2004. After having been to a Cardinals-Astro baseball game. The west bank of the Trinity was a long sandbar, and there were a few people, 10 or 15, spread out along the sandbar doing various things. Oh, man, I used to party on the sandbars. There were a few kids and a dad camping, two guys sitting on a tailgate. There was a couple fathers down fishing, and there was another truck backed up to the sandbar with a stereo playing. My wife and I drove down to the sandbar. had to engage the four-wheel drive to avoid getting stuck, and turned around to go back to the Highway 105. We got back out on the highway, and my wife asked me to drive on across the bridge to the other side, so I did. My wife saw what she called a waterfall off of the left side of the bridge. Actually, it was just water running over the rocks in a small creek off the Trinity. We turned off on the dirt road just past the bridge, drove over a small wooden bridge over my wife's waterfall, and came to a gate, which was locked with 2 padlocks. Keep in mind, this area is very heavily wooded, swampy in some places, marshy, highly inhospitable once you step foot in the woods. At the gate, we got out of the truck. We climbed the gate just to look around the area. We could hear the music of the kids playing across the river, probably a quarter of a mile back across the bridge on the other side of the gate. The road turned into 2 track trails. There had been vehicles down there probably within the last month. We walked down the trail. The sun was setting, and it was starting to get a little dark. This was very impromptu, as we had not planned for this jaunt at all. My wife had heels on. I walked ahead, probably 30 feet ahead of my wife. There was a sign that indicated that this area was a private hunting club. We were very quiet and made very little sound. It was then that I saw it. About 40 yards down the trail, where the trail turned sharply to the left, it leapt across the trail, much like a long jumper, landed on the right side of the trail, leapt again onto the woods, or into the woods, quickly, quietly, in the blink of an eye. It was a rusty color, about 6 feet tall, and was extremely, and I mean extremely fast. In an instant, my mind tried to discern what it was that I just saw. I kept telling myself, there's no way. There's no way. But my data bank could not process it or link it to any other creature that I had ever seen. I saw no face. I do not remember seeing arms or feet, but I did see an upright, reddish brown large animal about 6 feet tall leap 10 feet across the trail and spring into the woods. I turned and whispered loudly to my wife, "Did you see that?" No, she was busy dealing with a slimy, slithery something that had slithered across her foot. She was quite distraught, and her encounter happened at exactly the second mine occurred. When she realized what had happened, she quickly jogged up to me, and we jogged to the spot of the crossing. When we arrived at the crossing area, we could hear the animal still running through the woods, sending birds to flight near the path. It was then I smelled the musky smell. Much like a horse, actually. We looked for tracks of any nature and found absolutely nothing. The creature cleared the road, and the road was the only place the tracks could have been. We turned and looked to the left, and then the woods were clumped. The woods was a clump of uprooted trees with fresh sod on the roots, as though it had recently been pulled there. I can say with certainty what I saw. 1, rusty red, kind of like an orangutan. 2, approximately 6 feet tall. 3, incredibly fast. 4, appeared bipedal and upright. 5, it was not a deer, coyote, cat, horse, cow, human, bear, fox, wolf, hog, dog, or any other type of indigenous animal that I've ever seen in Texas. I'm originally from Cass County, Texas, and I was raised in the backwoods of East and Central Texas. We had no cameras with us, but even if we did, the creature was way out of sight before I could have even brought the camera up, and he was way too fast for any type of pursuit. We summarized that perhaps it had been watching the people across the river from a very safe and secure position until he saw us coming up the road, at which time it fled in panic. He probably saw us before we saw him. When I first saw him, he was in midair leaping across the road, kind of like what went over the hood of your.
Yeah.
He touched down and then sprung back up again into the woods. We heard him for a few seconds after we arrived at the crossing area, and then it went silent, save for the people noises that were across the river. We thought that he may have stopped and surveyed us from a hidden position in the woods. We looked around for just a few minutes and then returned back to the truck. It was already getting dark in a hurry, and we were largely unequipped. I did not see it pull up the trees, but circumstantially, there was a connection because the uprooted trees that we found were in the immediate area from which the animal came. Also, the trees had appeared to have been pulled up from the ground, and the act would require much strength. It appeared to be some sort of ruminary shelter. Perhaps the animal was watching the humans from across the river, having been drawn by the sound of the kids on the stereo. No, just the sounds of the running through the woods is all I heard. I was struck by its speed more than anything, and there was a smell much like a musky smell of a horse or perhaps another wild animal.
That's wild, man. I mean, that is crazy stuff. There's just so much that happens in Texas that I think people don't talk about, or I guess maybe just wasn't on my radar. I had never heard any of these stories, so I'm enjoying them as much as you guys are because I haven't heard these yet. So for me, it's just as entertaining to sit and hear these encounters. So I don't know, man. These things move fast. I don't think that if people that have never had an encounter with one or seen one of these things, you don't have any idea how big they really are in perspective to what what's supposed to be out there. I mean, these things are massive, and then how fast they are, man. Like I remember in your encounter, you talked about after this thing, hit the trailer, the fifth wheel that your dad had there, and you saw it with the lightning walking off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. Was it running off or was it just kind of walking off? I can't remember, man.
Nope.
He was just nonchalantly.
He was nonchalantly walking off. He walked underneath a branch. There was a tree that was between the camper and the wood line. From the backside of the tree to the wood line was like another maybe 15 to 20 feet, and from the camper to the tree was about 10 feet, and then to the left of the tree was my dad's shed that he kept stuff. Now the branch that it walked under, its head almost hit the branch, and the branch was about 9.5, 10 feet up in the air.
That's crazy. These things they're so big. I know that when I had that thing jump over the hood of my car, it was massive. It really was like this picture, guys. I'll show you. That's about one of the closest things I've ever seen, if I can find it. I mean, it was kind of like this is what it looked like when it jumped over the hood of my car. It was just this huge, white, just massive thing, and it happened so fast. But that's how a lot of these things do. They happen quick. They pop up quick. So, yeah, let's see. Do you ever go back to the place where you guys had the camper? Bo's asking.
I'm trying to show someone my tattoo. Someone just mentioned it. Kind of upside down. 101st Screaming Eagles right there. That's a memory of my stepdad and my dad. They were both in the 101st Vietnam vets.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, Bo wants to know if you've had an encounter or been back to where that camper was at. But that property, basically, it's been worked over, right? Like they built houses and stuff out there now, right?
Yeah, it's all gone. October 25th, 1985, I want to say, my dad was involved in a really bad car accident, and we had to move back to Tacoma, Washington, and it was probably about 6 months. That was October, so it was fall. We didn't go back until the next spring to check it out. And like I said, we had seen like something had been looking through all the windows like this. So we saw like this part of the hand and maybe a little bit of a nose impression on all the windows as they were trying to look into the windows. All the blinds were drawn. So, But yeah,
Oh, that's great. It makes you wonder why why they're so curious with that, man. They look in windows so often. You hear about so many accounts, and what's weird about it is a lot of times it's with kids. I don't know. We can go down that rabbit hole. I think some of them they steal kids and stuff, but that's just me. Who knows? I don't know. These are all just educated guesses, I guess.
Yeah.
But wild stuff. So hopefully you guys are having fun tonight. We are talking about, if you're just jumping on, we're talking about do it in your accent, man. Throw the accent out there.
we talking about Big Thicket down there in Southeast Texas.
That's right. That is right. So we're talking about that. We got some stories that Daniel's been reading, and we're just having a good time hanging out. As always, if this is your first time on on this channel, we're glad that you are here. If you have an encounter you would like to send to me, you can send it to me by email at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. So we are how many more stories you got?
Bro, I got 18
You got
pages.
Golly, man.
I got a ton on here. Like seriously,
There's
guys,
there's so much that happens there.
you have no idea.
We got somebody actually from that area. Let's see if I can. I've been around the Big Thicket for many years, never seen anything, but have no doubt that they are there. How did this not be up on our radar? I'd never heard of that.
I mean, I've heard of the Big Thicket, but I didn't know it was the Big Thicket. I mean, I've heard about a lot of stories in Texas, Southeast Texas. I heard about those, and then I heard about some up there in Oklahoma. So, but I didn't realize that it was this. I didn't realize that it was this thick, and I know, and no pun intended. Like honestly. You guys, I'm serious. Like the one I just read, they mentioned Highway 105, right? This next one I'm going to read, Highway 105. The one after that, Highway 105. Yeah, it is just there's enough. It's just bananas. And here's one that happened almost a year. Let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Here's one that happened in the exact same area 7 months apart from each other. It's crazy.
Well, let's hear it, man. I'm anxious to hear it.
So May 2004, Liberty County, Texas, near Rayburn, Texas. I'm reporting for what my parents saw one morning while traveling to Houston. It was around 9 a.m. and they were traveling west from Romare to Cleveland on FM 787. This is when from a distance they saw a huge, large, brownish red creature cross in front of them. It was abnormally large and crossed the road in a swift, leaping motion. My father said it used one of its long arms to support its quick movement on the ground. It was slouching forward, and its body was wide and pear-shaped. Also, it had long, skinny legs. However, they weren't able to see its face at that distance where they had spotted. It seemed to come from the North Woods Shepherd area and crossed to and through a pipeline which headed south to Highway 105. The location was past Little Creek, the Culvert Bridge, on a 100-plus yard stretch of woods and trails from the nearest road and houses. Let's see here. It was just 4 miles west of the Trinity River and half a mile past the Rayburn town sign. Being in a hurry caused them to slow down the trail. Unfortunately, did not see any trace of it as they looked for it. When I visited them a day later, they had told me about what they had seen. Also, they told me they have told many family and friends the story, and the story has been very accurate each time telling it. As long as we lived in the area 15 years, there have been so many rumors of sightings. I am reporting because of a report on the news on Channel 13 ABC about a recent sighting near Bay City. Also, it mentioned a sighting in Liberty County by the Trinity River a few months ago. That would be May. It was a large human, a huge ape human-like creature. Uh-oh.
So
My
many of them.
cheese Nusi says the Rougarou on the Sabine River, east of Texas and West Louisiana.
See, I can't throw that accent out there like you can, man.
The Rougarou.
Zarugaru. I can't do it. That's crazy, man. Listen here. Myths don't leave footprints. Legends do. I've heard you say it before, AAO. That's a good one. That's a good one. That is a good one.
I'm writing that down.
Here, write it down. Put that on a t-shirt. Write that down. Here's a question for you, Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
So we know these things are territorial. We can agree on that. We have total different opinions with Bigfoot, like what we think these things are. But we can agree they are territorial. So there's that. And we can agree that they're in pockets, right?
Yeah.
But do you think they migrate through areas? And if so, how often do they migrate? That's my question. That's what I want.
Migrate. Well, see, someone asked this very question. One of our earlier lives. Okay. Yes, they do migrate. I believe they migrate with, however, the food sources migrate. Just like a bear. A bear will go to a river when the salmon are spawning to get all of that nutrients that they need to get ready to go hibernate. So yeah, absolutely. I think they hibernate. They follow. They follow their prey, their food sources.
It's a good answer. I mean, I think so. I think that's what they do. And you might ask me like, well, how can you think that if you think they're not just flesh and blood? But I think that when they're flesh and blood, they're flesh and blood, and when they're more than that, they are. So, yeah, that's kind of we agree on that. So that's good. That's three things we agree on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good. Guys, in the comments, let us know what you think. What you think Bigfoot is. I would love to hear everybody's opinion. That's in the chat. A lot of people are in there. But I would love to hear what your thoughts are on these creatures and what they are. AAO says exactly, Josh. So I just think that that's what they are. I think that they're either fallen angel or Nephilim, but they can be flesh and blood when they're flesh and blood. So got somebody from the Philippines. That is awesome. So cool. Well, I'm glad you're here. That is great. Really glad to have you here. That's awesome. That's very cool. Trueheart says you talk like me, get laughed at, but don't care. That is great. That is great.
I really don't
is
care
awesome
either. My wife and my daughter, they crack jokes on me all the time on how I pronounce certain things.
Oh, I know. I get laughed at all the time. So that's all right. So see, Joe says flesh. Go ahead. What did you say?
Like my wife, she'll go shopping. Hey, did you find any good deals? And she's like, what do you mean, pickles? And I'm like, no, you know what I'm talking about. She's like, then say it right. It's deals. I'm like, whatever.
No, good deals. It's good deals.
It's good
That's
deal.
hilarious, man.
What
a deal, man.
It's creeks and roofs.
Yes, creeks and roofs. That you got it right. That is exactly right. Let's see here. Joe says they're flesh and blood. And then let's see, we got another one here. If I can find it. So many comments coming in now. Some offshoot of Nephilim, I believe they call them. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Elude. Let's see.
Listen, man, I got a Tennessee education. So that's like a $35 word. I only got $2 words and $5 words.
Have you been to Arkansas? I'm just kidding. Tennessee education, trying to Arkansas education. I'm just kidding. I love my home state of Arkansas. Hey, do we have any Razorback fans in the chat? If you are, let me know. Big game coming up Saturday. So
if you're self-respecting, you're not. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, that you did not go there. You never know what you're gonna get here with me and Daniel. So can't believe you went there, man. I'm just gonna move on. I'm moving on. See, Mike says, Mike Check says Nephilim. Yeah. Let's see.
Hey, Virginia.
What's up, Virginia? Good to see you. Cricks or creeks? It's creeks.
It's creeks.
Creeks. Boomer Sooner.
Oh,
man.
Pigs.
Woo. Pig Suey. That's right. Hey, here's the thing. I love my hogs. But anyways, we'll get back to Bigfoot. So
I love hogs
I had
too.
to
Bacon,
eat them.
ham,
Bacon, yeah,
pulled pork.
all that. That's great. So anyways, you just don't know what we're going to talk about, but I don't know how to get my train of thought back after that, Daniel.
Right, let's kick into this January 2004.
Okay, let's
Again,
do it. Get back to the story.
Liberty County, Texas, near Cleveland, Texas. In January of this year, 2004, my girlfriend and I were out on our way to visit family in Cootsy. I think that's how you say it. Please tell me if I'm right. Cootsy, Texas. We share an apartment in the city, Kingwood, a suburb of Houston. The quickest route, however you want to say it, to my mom and stepdad's house is through Cleveland, Texas. And what highway do you think they take? 105. From there to almost Cootsy. Am I saying that right? I hope I am.
We'll find out.
I work as a shift foreman for a chemical plant, and my shift ended at 11 p.m. My girlfriend was packed and ready to leave when I got home at about midnight. We left from Kingwood and traveled through Cleveland onto 105. We had been on 105 for about 20 minutes, about 45 minutes from Kingwood. We were approaching the Trinity River bottom when I noticed something in the center of the road. My girlfriend was dozing beside me, and I yelled, thinking that we were about to have an accident. She sat up and screamed that we were about to hit him. I locked the brakes of her truck up, and when I did, whatever it was stood up in the road and started to run to our right towards the woods. Okay. My girlfriend started to open her door, and I grabbed her to stop. She yelled that it was a Bigfoot and I had heard of them. I mean, who hasn't? But to be honest, until that very moment, I would have never believed that they existed. By the time I looked up from her, the creature was standing on the side of the road watching us. When she opened her door, the creature made like a squealing sound and turned to the woods. Where the thing was squatting on the road was a doe that had been hit by a car. I'm not sure if it was looking or feeding on the doe, but it had been moved by it. You could see where the creature had shifted the animal on the road, or at least looked like it had got out to look at it. I'm not too sure of what else to tell about what I saw. I think it was roughly 7 feet tall. I'm not too sure. I don't know. It was quite a bit taller than myself. It was black in color, but it had what looked like mud on its legs and arms. The fur or hair was long. It was on my girlfriend's side of the truck, about 10 feet away, and she said its hands were long and the thumbs were not right. I'm not too sure what she meant by that. They look longer, I think. To be honest, not too sure about how to describe that. I have read on here when I decided to post the incident that there was an odor a lot of times. When we got out, I could not really remember an odor or anything that smelled strange.
Another 105 story. Man, here's my question, and maybe I heard you wrong, but did you say that she tried to get out of the car when she saw it?
Yep. When the truck stopped and she looked up and yelled Bigfoot, she got out of her truck to chase after it. And he grabbed it.
Wow.
Well, I could tell
you.
I could tell you right now in that relationship who the alpha is and who the beta was.
Well, yeah, for sure. That's crazy, man. That's nuts. Yeah, that's wild, man. Flower Child says she crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Chio says I would have squealed too. That's great. Man, like it makes you wonder what the heck is going on with Highway 105, man. I wonder how long that highway is, how many counties it covers.
I have no idea, but I'm going to tell you right now, these next two stories, these are the ones that happened about 7 months apart in the same area.
Well,
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. One comment though. True Heart says this one's really good. Hang on.
I saw
I had
that.
it
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Route 105 runs east to west just north of Houston.
Huh. Okay.
Ronnie goes, I need to go down 105. Hey, Brent, what's up, buddy?
No.
Welcome.
Where is Highway 105? I got lost. It is in the Big Thicket, somewhere in there, one of the counties. A lot of the encounters are popping up on that road, Superfly, for some reason. Yeah.
All right, you guys. These two are crazy. Again, 8 months apart. I'll read the first one, and then I'll read the second one. So, in October of 2002, Liberty County, Texas, near is it Kennefic, Texas.
No idea.
This one's awesome. I am a police officer. I was traveling northbound on FM 1008, so 1008, and there was an 18-wheel truck in front of me at the time, and we were traveling at approximately 55 miles an hour. I observed a large creature in an upright position run out of the tree line on the east side of the highway. It ran in front of the big truck in front of me. The truck braked and swerved to the east side of the road, and the creature was unharmed and cleared the road and ran into the tree line on the west side of FM 1008. From what I could see, this creature appeared to be as tall as the cab of the 18-wheeler, maybe 8 feet, and was very bulky, covered in hair. I estimate the speed in which it was running to be about 35 miles an hour with extremely long strides. There are other police and fire service members in the Kennefic area that have seen this creature, and I personally heard numerous stories of sightings. If I had not seen it firsthand, I would not have believed it myself. I'm going to try to find this guy because I want to hear from him.
Definitely.
Like
100%.
for real.
Especially them being a police officer. That spiked my interest right away.
Absolutely. So again, Now this one happened about 7 months later. My son and I was driving down FM 1008 Kennefic heading towards our road, Highway 321. It was about 11 p.m. I was driving around a curve, and it was just there. His face was as tall as the speeding sign that he was standing next to, as if he was crossing the road. If I was 20 seconds later, I would have hit a man that had hair covering his whole body, except I could see his mouth, his nose with no hair. His eyes were pretty clear of any facial hair as well. He looked upset, clearly not sure what it was that my son and I saw, but it was man-like that was standing tall as a street sign. My headlights reflected off the sign as this thing turned to face us, and we see him. It was practically in my windshield. I would have hit him if I did not swerve.
You imagine what that would have done to the vehicle, hitting something like that, man?
Totaled it.
I came down one of the roads, and they introduced elk back to Arkansas. It's probably been 15 years or longer ago, and I came down this hill one night, late at night, man. There were 2 elk sitting in the middle of the road, and these things are massive. And man, hitting that would have taken me out. But man, hitting something like a Bigfoot, that would be pretty scary. Let's see. Have you guys heard of Marion, North Carolina? They have a Bigfoot festival. My wife and I went last year. Never heard of that, but that would be fun to go to. That would be a lot of fun. Let me ask you guys a question, everybody in the chat watching this video. If me and Daniel were to put together some kind of meet and greet where you guys could come and we did a live podcast, rented the spot and had everybody come up and hang out, is that something you guys would be interested in doing? We've talked about that before. You never know. We'd have to find a place to meet halfway, but it'd be awesome to do that. So who knows? Who knows what will happen? I don't know if we'll ever get to do that, but it'd be cool. if that ever does happen. So
Mhm.
you could sit with that accent, man, and throw that out all night long.
What accent?
Oh, come on now. Come on. Don't do that.
I don't know what she's talking about.
That's so great. Guys, I do want to take a second to let you guys know that if you are military, if you're law enforcement, if you serve this country, you're an EMT, anything you do to serve this country, you are welcome here. We are very honored to have you guys here, and just want to say thanks for your service. Daniel, thanks for your service too, buddy. I appreciate what you did for our country, man. Really mean that. Really, really
I
do.
would, even with the outcome that happened, me blowing my knee out and my career was cut short, man, I would do it all over again. Even if I knew that it was going to happen again, I'd do it again.
Yeah. No, I feel that way, man. Like I definitely would serve again in my law enforcement career. I'd do it all over again. So, speaking of that, in those two stories, man, I would like to segue into that other, real quick and get everybody's thoughts on that. If you're open to it, if you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Do it.
So I was doing a little research on this, and I popped up an episode from Sasquatch Chronicles. I can't remember which one it is. I sent it to you. Let me look and see, because you guys need to go listen to that.
243, I think. Episode
243. And it's about two guys that started this. Yeah, you got it all right up there. They started this, what would you call it? I guess like where they would take people out and try to find Bigfoot, basically. It's kind of how I would describe it.
Like a guide, like a guide.
Like a guided tour.
Yeah.
And so they would do this guided tours out there at the Big Thicket, and they, long story short, were out there one night, and all of a sudden they had a bunch of people out there on this guided tour with them. They had 6 or 8 government vehicles roll up on them. The feds rolled up. A lot of different people rolled up. It's a really strange case. They received really strange tickets. The odd thing about these tickets, it was a federal type court type thing. When they went to the federal court, I believe they went into Houston, I believe. When they got there, there was no judge there. There was a prosecutor there and the 2 agents, and pretty wild story. A lot of weird stuff happened with that. So, they don't really go into too many details because they had to sign some documents to where they couldn't talk about certain stuff. Mm-hmm. But they talked about it. Made them wonder, like their phones were being monitored, all this stuff, right? That is a byproduct of this world, that once you get into this, you start hearing this stuff. I can't tell you the amount of emails I get from people like, hey, had a Bigfoot encounter. Hey, black SUV in my driveway. White SUV in my driveway. I think I'm being monitored. Like, that happens a lot. I had a gentleman on my show, a really unique story called Moon. I think it's Moon Owl Labs. I think I'm saying that right. Owl Moon Labs. I said it backwards. And he bought this property, and I believe it was in Oregon, and it bumped up to a huge national forest. And he said that he found these prints, cast the prints, brought them into a shed that he had built out back, and a lot of weird stuff were happening, gifting, stuff like that. Toby Johnson. Toby's his buddy, I believe, but or maybe his name was Toby. I can't remember. I think his name was Daryl, the guy who came on my show, but Toby wrote the book. Wild story, but he said that he started having government people show up on his property. And, to me, that's probably one of the freakiest parts about this is like, man, like, it makes you think, well, for one, as much as goes on at the Big Thicket, what are they hiding? Like, why would they go in there and shut that down? What do you think about that, Daniel? Man, what are your thoughts with all that? I know you listened to the episode too, but what do you think?
Well, to be honest with you, I kind of look at it as, again, I'm cynical when it comes to things. I question everything I can possibly question. I honestly believe these guys had great intentions with what they were doing. I would never see any type of issue with it. I would love to have gone on one of their guided tours. They said that they had, Bigfoot been tapping their phones. They had audio of them telling these guys, "Hey, you're not paying anything. If someone asks you, you're just going with this." So, do I feel that if that is true, where they're trying to hide something so they don't have to pay the government? Yeah, I can see that they're trying to profit off of that. Is that wrong? Yeah, that's wrong. But on the same, who cares? They're paying for food pretty much. It's not like they're paying enormous amounts of money. I think that the government does know what's going on. I think the government has a hand in what's going on, and I think that if the truth comes out, like the definitive truth comes out, you're going to see a lot of industries hurt because of it.
A lot. That's the thing people ask all the time. Like, why would the government even care? But think about it. Like, national parks are going to be affected. Like, one part of the story, they were talking about how the game warden was saying, well, we have a specific breed of bird that's a woodpecker on this land, and you can't camp within, I don't remember, it's like how far away from this thing you couldn't camp. Well, who's going to go out and check the trees and do all this stuff? But that's when the government gets involved with stuff. They really shut things down. Joe's right. The logging industry would kill it. Like, it would absolutely kill, because you're going to have people out there trying to hunt these things down. It's just it would change things, but they definitely know. They know what's going on, and I think that they keep tabs on all of it. It's like that guy who came on the show that, granted, you found a lot of discrepancies in his military career stuff, but how he said he was a firefighter, they found some dead bodies, and then the next thing you know, the government is showing up and all this other stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, I've seen things in my law enforcement career that I will not talk about. I can't talk about. And I'm sure that you've done the same in your career. And there's a lot of things that most people don't know. And if you did know what was driving down the road next to you every day, you probably wouldn't leave your house. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think about that all the time. Like, I sometimes wish that I would never have been a police officer, because you see things that most people never see, and it's just like, man, it's pretty wild. But let's see. I do believe that the government knows, and I believe they took care of my problem a couple of years ago. There's a lot that you could read into that.
For sure.
Yeah, but
for sure.
I guess on a joking note, and we'll talk about some more of these stories. If something happens to me or Daniel, you know what happened. I'm kidding, man. I'm just playing. Hey, PJ from Arkansas, I just found this channel. We live in Arkansas, foothills of Ozarks, and I've had an encounter. My husband has caught glimpses of them. We have an ongoing activity. PJ, if you would please email me, MysteriesUnknownPodcast@gmail.com. I'm really familiar with that area, so get a hold of me. I would love to talk to you guys about that. There's a lot of activity. We know somebody else that talks to me and you about that area. So,
yep.
Lot of stuff.
He is one of my favorite people to talk to too. He'll shoot me a message every now and again, or he'll, hey, can I give you a call? And we'll sit there. We'll just talk. He's got that slow Southern Arkansas accent. He's like, Dan, I'm gonna let me run this by you, Dan. What do you think this is? So. If he's still in the chat, you know who I'm talking about. I love that man. That he's like, you know what? He gives me this Paw vibe. That's what he gives me.
Yeah.
And he's not much older than me.
That's great. Listen, we have really built a really cool community. We got some great people here, and if you're a member or you're just hanging out with us tonight, if you've watched any of these videos, shared them, liked them, anything, we really do appreciate you guys. I am so humbled by this support. You guys are awesome, and love doing this. And I'll mention this again. If you become a member of the $6.99 tier or above this month, we're going to be doing a drawing. My wife's going to do a drawing. Or putting together some stuff for you guys. But 2 people, we're going to give away a bag of coffee and a signed Mysteries Unknown poster. So if you signed up for that, let me know. Send me an email, and we'll get you guys entered into the drawing. So we'll probably do the drawing live. I don't know how we'll do that yet, but it'll be good stuff. So let's see here. after listening to hours of encounters, what amazes me that most is upon the utterance of the name of Jesus, these things flee. What are your thoughts? I agree with you 100%. For one, there's power in that name. That's where our strength comes from. And I've heard several encounters where that happens. And, that's exactly what they do. So, yeah, you're spot on with that, man. Spot on with that.
Joanne goes, wish you guys could tell some of the things you have seen. Well, I'll tell you what I saw. I saw like an 8-foot tall female Sasquatch when I was 12 years old, no more than 25 feet away from me, squatting on the side of the road. And then when she stood up, I didn't, like I said, I didn't think she was going to stop rising up. She was that big. So
that's pretty crazy. I was 14 years old, and walked around in my living room, looked out the sliding glass windows about 20 yards back. There's this black, massive creature comes out of the woods, and it didn't walk. It almost like it glided out, and I didn't know what to do. Stood there for a long, long, long time in my mind. Went and grabbed my dad's shotgun, and I come back. I mean, the shotgun wouldn't have done anything, but once I loaded the shotgun, this thing turned around, not in any hurry, and glided back off into the woods. So yeah, we both, my stories are on the show, and then Daniel's stories are on the show. I'm going to bring Daniel back on as a guest sometime really soon, and we're going to dive into his encounters and maybe do one long episode. One of the encounters that happened to him that we don't talk about a whole lot, is the rake, man. That one, with you're sitting in that chair and that thing, man, that one gave me chills, man. That absolutely gave me chills. So that one was,
or
that was pretty wild, man.
The one when I was in the military.
That one, yeah.
I'm not saying that was a Sasquatch, and I just saw someone post something up here. Can I do a plug, a shameless plug?
Yeah, no, do it. Go for it, man.
So True Heart just posted this. True Heart. Anybody who's new to the channel, this is my love right here. I love Sasquatch ever since I was a kid. But I have another thing that I've encountered. I've encountered a lot of paranormal stuff. The earliest memory that I have is when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I, through the assistance of Josh, and Josh pretty much just kicking me in the butt and telling me, come on, man, get it started. Stop talking about it. Just get it done. I started my own podcast. It's called the Paranormal Narrative Podcast. It's here on YouTube. I think I have like 75 members now. So look out. I'm going to overtake you in no time.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But and I dive into everything that's paranormal. Yeah, and I'm just fascinated by it. So if anybody on here has a story, an encounter, something that they've seen they can't explain, shoot me an email at the paranormal narrative podcast at gmail.com. So I appreciate that.
Daniel's a great guy. He does good with that. And listen, here's the thing that Daniel, for you guys, that it's a safe place because Daniel is a believer. He sets boundaries in his faith with it, and he does a good job about not bringing glory to it, but shining a light to it. And it's some interesting stuff. I promised my wife a long time ago I wouldn't touch that stuff with a 10-foot pole. So if you have those stories, send them to Daniel. You'll be in safe hands, really good hands. And bro, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if you blew way past me. So
nah. Hey, I said, man, I'll take you with me. So
yeah, you never know. So listen, I know that we got one or two more stories we can get into, but we'll just wait. I was going to say you could share that rake story, but we'll wait because I want to have you back on and have you retell that story. That one's a good one. So
okay.
And Chio, yes, you are a new member. Chio's great, guys. If you've not noticed, he is always supportive. He's in the comments a lot. he's a great guy, and we're just glad that he's here. We're glad all you guys are here. So let us know if this is your first time. And yeah, go ahead, man.
And I know his real name.
So do I. Oh, that's great. That's great. That is great. Stan says, this is a cool comment. I would like to meet you two and shake your hands. That would be awesome, man. You never know. You never know where the stuff is going to go. So you just don't know. So
Absolutely.
We love hanging out with you guys and doing these lives. It's a lot of fun. And one of these days we're going to get on the schedule, but right now we just do it as we can, and we try to do these lives whenever we get the opportunity. So, but you guys are awesome, and glad you guys are here. So while Daniel's busy doing something, I think he's dropping his channel in the comments there. If you guys like coffee and you want to support this channel and you want to help us continue to grow and continue to pump these things out, go to my website, check out our coffee, MysteriesUnknownPodcast.com. It really, really is good coffee. Not just saying it, but you go check it out. It's really, really good stuff. And if you get it and don't like it, let me know. But anyways, man, what else you got for us, brother?
And coming from a non-coffee drinker,
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, it is really good coffee. I don't like black coffee. I don't like plain coffee. It tastes bitter and sour to me, and I don't like it. That's how I drink this coffee. I wanted to give it a true test, and I liked it. I liked it so much as I had two cups of it, and my wife is gonna toss the rest out. I'm like, don't you dare! And then I had iced coffee with it, so it was delicious. How about Skunk Gate blend? That's awesome. So,
oh, that's great.
All right, so I'm sorry, buddy.
Laura, no, you're good, man. She wants to know if there's a link. So, Laura, you can go to the description part of the episode, and it's in there. So, but just go to MysteriesUnknownCoffee.com. Easy to find, and I'm glad that you like it, Daniel, because I know you would tell me if you didn't. So, I'm glad you liked it.
Of course, I would. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Nope. All right. Another story.
Okay, here we go, guys. So, December 1993. I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming when this happened. Liberty County, Texas, near Dayton, Texas. I was squirrel hunting on my grandmother's property, which is around 2.5 miles east of Dayton. I just walked into a clearing about 14 by 30 feet, surrounded by dense foliage. I had a New England single-shot 12-gauge shotgun with me. I was looking up in the trees or any sign of squirrels when I caught movement out of the corner of my right eye. I looked down to the front of me and saw, standing about 15 feet away, a very large creature. It was about 6'7" to 7 feet tall, very broad at the shoulders, very hairy except its face. The face was devoid of hair. Black coal eyes with a wide nose, very long arms and big hands. It was like I had surprised it. We stared at each other for about maybe 10 seconds when I cocked my 12 gauge. At that time, it turned to its right and disappeared very quickly. It was just getting to be dusk, but I did get a good look at it, and I went looking for some tracks and found none. There was no smell. I hunted at that location quite often and know the surroundings pretty well. That day, there were no birds, no squirrels, or any signs of wildlife whatsoever. It started to get dark, so I headed back home.
Man. I wonder how far away that was from Highway 105.
I have no idea, man. I have no idea.
What? I think we should get little armbands that say Highway 105. That way, somebody asks, "What's that about?" Well, let me tell you what that's about.
Exactly.
If I was from Texas, that's exactly what I do.
Oh man. Let's see.
Bonnie says, this is a really interesting comment. I had been terrorized for about 3 years here in central Kentucky, and all of a sudden it stopped one night after hearing gunfire. Well, now that's interesting. And she's the one who said that basically, I think, if I remember right, the government took care of that for her. Makes you wonder. I don't know. Bonnie, who knows? That's, nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me.
No. Well, I mean, we've heard stories on anybody who's listened to this type of podcast or stories. You hear people go, "Oh, I was part of a super secret ultra black ops, kill team that went out to areas and killed all these things." I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no. But again, the military part of me, I'm like, come on, man. Super secret black ops, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could put the Highway 105 sign on the road in your intro.
That's so great, man. We could call it the Highway 105 Club, I guess.
Exactly.
Super secret Highway 105 Club.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Man, I am, bro, I got so many here.
Yeah. There, when you told me I had that many pages, I was like, good grief, how much activity is down there. Like that was not even on my radar.
You guys, I'm telling you, there's so much stuff. Like I said, it goes way back into the 60s. I mean, I'm kind of watching our time because I know, and I've also been watching you take sips out of that cup of coffee. So
yeah, I'll be good till generally about 2 hours is all I can go. And I really would like to hang out a little longer tonight, but I got to check on my wife. For too long. But I just want to take a second, guys. Thank you so much for all the prayers and for the kind words and saying all that. This is an amazing community, and just thankful for every single one of you guys. For real. Honestly, you guys are awesome.
Yeah. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 short ones, and then I have another story, and I'm just going to give you the name of it. The Bear King of Marble Falls. And that's also in the Big Thicket area.
Close to 105.
Let me see this one.
Just kidding.
No, this is probably before 105. This happened like in 1901.
Okay. Yeah, probably before that then. That's great. Let's jump into it, man. Let's get these stories out here.
Yeah, let me knock these out. You guys, I'm bypassing like 1, 2, 3. I'm bypassing like 5 stories, 6 stories because they're super long. So, 1981, Liberty County near, again, Dayton, Texas. Me and my dog went squirrel hunting. My dog came out of the brush with his tail tucked between his legs and with a deep growl. I looked to see what he was growling at and observed an animal about 4 to 5 feet tall that looked like an orangutan that stood straight up. It was reddish brown in color. It was about 20 yards from me. When we saw each other, we both ran opposite directions. It appeared to be just as afraid of me as I was of it. Even though I had a .22 rifle, I was so scared. All I could think was to run. What made me just now tell the story is because of a recent hoax that I saw in the news. These people, the hoaxers, make Bigfoot sightings unbelievable. I have told my family, friends, but just got laughed at. I know what I saw and consider it an honor to witness it. I will take this to my grave, but I was too afraid to go back in the woods.
Well, I mean, don't blame them.
And it's just, here's the thing. He mentioned it in here. It's because of people hoaxing or making bogus claims, videos, pictures, and we're not going to name a person's name who is notorious for doing it. That has take the credibility out of a lot of people who's truly seen this, and now they're laughed at and ridiculed. I mean, every time I talk about it or I mention it, my wife gives me a smirk. So does my daughter. But I know what I saw.
Yeah,
I know the fear that I felt in 1992. I know, everything that I had seen. So, I mean, it is what it is. You know what you saw. Anybody here who's experienced it knows what they saw. So,
yeah. And hopefully we can change some of that, that some of the ridicule, I want to give people a safe platform to come on here and share these encounters. And it's important because, I don't have any respect for hoaxers, because all that does is it hurts people who have real encounters. And I sit up at night and I wonder how many people are sitting on these stories that they're just too afraid to share. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's sad. That irritates me. So, but
it was him and his dog.
All right, you got the accent going on. All right,
this one, 2 teenage boys have encountered while camping and fishing on the San Joaquino River. This is spring in 1973, Montgomery County, Texas, near Conroe, Texas. My friend and I saw a large hairy animal squatting down on the riverbank. I was drawing its hand. It was hand to its mouth. We shined our spotlight on the animal. It raised up very quickly and let out a loud scream. It turned and ran back into the woods. When the animal turned to run from the spotlight, it moved down. It mowed down everything in its path. When we shined the spotlight to see what was making the noise, the animal let out the scream. We did hear it leave, and the tree limbs were cracking. It was about 8 feet tall. It had hair all over its body. It was black and brown in color. It had very long arms. There was a heavy, musky smell.
There's that smell again.
Yep. This one was October of 2001, Tyler County, Texas, near Woodville, Texas. About 11 months ago, I saw a Bigfoot in my backyard. He stood about 7 to 8 feet tall, weighed close to 800 to 1,000 pounds. It was black and hairy all over, smelled worse than a skunk. It had arms like an ape, and it looked prehistoric. It was all very shocking to see. Most recently, a teenage boy claimed to have he saw a Bigfoot in the Woodville area. My son has also told me one night something that stunk came across the house by the bedroom where he was sleeping. Whatever it was moaned and groaned, and he could hear it breathing. My son lives in the same house where I saw the Bigfoot in Woodville, Texas. This one was in 1964, Polk County, Texas, near Livingston County. Man, Livingston is popping up a lot. The pine forest in the pine forest in the East Texas Big Thicket. When I was roughly 10 years old, I went with my best friend Doug and his mother to a small cemetery in the Big Thicket east of Livingston. Doug had a little brother who had passed away at birth and was buried there. His mom had asked if I wanted to go with him to visit the grave. Just after she had finished putting some flowers on the grave and saying a little prayer, we turned back to go to the car when we heard something crash at the edge of the woods behind the cemetery. We looked back and saw a huge, large, dark, hairy creature standing right behind the fence of the cemetery, maybe 50 yards away. Mrs. Jones screamed, and the creature gave a loud grunt and shuffled back into the woods, kind of like a half waddle, half trot. Miss Jones told us to get in the car quickly, which we did. Doug said she never went back to the cemetery again. That's sad.
And neither would I. Yeah, that is sad, man. That is really sad. Yeah, I talk to a lot of people in this world that they have these encounters, and it absolutely takes something from them or ruins something for them. And AO said that she just can't sleep at night because of this stuff. And like there's that side of these encounters that people don't talk about. Like it definitely can take something from you and change your life. So I hate to hear stuff like that.
And here's the last one I have.
Let's do it.
Guys. This is the Bear King of Marble Falls. The Bear King of Marble Falls is the name of a creature sighted in Marble Falls, Texas, that reportedly abducted a woman in 1901 before being shot and killed by locals who hunted it. The Kickatoo Indians of the region had a local legend involving a bear man who rules over the bears of the region, serving as their king. This creature was dubbed the Bear King, a name that local media picked up to describe the nearby entity that was sighted in 1901 by a number of locals. On May 15th, 1901, papers across the United States reported on an abduction in Marble Falls, Texas, in which a local girl named Ramey Arland was taken captive by the Bear King. As Ramey was out tending to the sheep flock on her family's farm one afternoon, members of the household reported hearing her scream, followed by what they described as a roar of a panther. Gathering weapons and running from their home, they found Ramey gone. After searching the woods without clues, soon assembled a search party of locals. The group searched the woods all night but was unable to find the missing girl. The next day, a local hunter found Ramey wandering the woods aimlessly several miles away. Ramey claims that she had been grabbed by a bear man who brought her to a cave in the mountains and struck her many times as she tried to escape. She eventually waited for the creature to fall asleep before escaping. A group of local men began tracking the creature and eventually found the cave, where they confronted the beast, who growled like a panther and beat on its chest. The local men hesitated to kill this creature because it resembled a human, but eventually shot it after it charged them. No description was made as to what they did with the body. Years later, a local brewery named after the Bear King in memory of the event.
Man, that one's pretty wild.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's pretty wild, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. It's a wild world, man. There's so much that happens that we just can't explain. I don't know, man. That one's pretty intense. I've never heard that one before.
Either did I, until, again, if it wasn't for Joe bringing it up again I would have never dug into the Big Thicket. Seriously.
Yeah,
So-
well, I'm glad he did, because there's a lot of good stories in there, and this was a good one, guys. I think that I need to talk about what I encountered tonight. Joseph, if you want to send me an email, you can send it to me at mysteriesUnknownPodcast@gmail.com. Would love to hear about what you guys got going on. And so, always reach out, and it's taken me a while to get back to some of these emails with my wife being so sick, but I will get back to you. We definitely want to hear about it. And, this is a safe place for you guys to share these encounters. You send it to me, you send it to Daniel. It will not go any further. I can promise you that, unless you wanted to, so, Daniel, as always, man, thanks for putting together some amazing stories, for finding those. You always do a really good job. You do it with the accent. Give them the accent one more time. You got to do it.
All right. Let me see here.
Give them the accent.
November 2013 in Cherokee County, Texas, near Jacksonville, Texas. I lived in a lake cabin for my first year of college. The lake and surrounding land were owned by a hunting club that had been around since the lake was built in the 1930s. There you go.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. We do have fun here, and we laugh about this stuff, but me and Daniel both take this really seriously as well. And we understand that, there are people that this stuff really, really, really affects. And so, just know that, we're here for you. We're in your corner. We want to hear about it. Frida says, good accent. People are loving your accent, man. Thanks everybody for the prayers for my wife. I really do appreciate it. It means a whole lot. Your best wealth is definitely your health. That's for sure. Here. So, but, Michelle says, I love our crazy tribe here. Well, maybe we should call it the 105 tribe, Daniel. I'm kidding.
Hell yeah. Highway 105 in the Big Thicket in southeast Texas.
That's hilarious. Greg says, by the way, Josh, my mom is getting stronger. That's good to hear, Greg, man. Really glad to hear that. What was you saying, man?
Look at you are. Quit copying me, Daniel.
That's hilarious. Virginia says, love our tribe. We have really built a really good group of people. So thankful for that, guys. Make sure to tune in on Monday. Got a really, really, really good episode for you guys. This one will leave you scratching your head. And I will tell you this encounter involves Dogman, Bigfoot sightings. I'll just give you a brief rundown. This guy him and his wife moved to a property, and they were there 2.5 years, come home one day, and everything broke loose. Had all these sightings and different stuff pop up. So it's going to be a good one. And one of those that we probably need to have him back on the show. But again, guys, thanks for hanging out with me and Daniel tonight. We appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. Don't forget about the member special we got going on this month. And just thanks for the support. Thanks for being here, man. You got anything else, Daniel?
Don't forget about the coffee, because it's amazing.
It's good stuff.
And
MysteriesUnknownPodcast.com.
Yeah, it is. Oh, we're the bomb diggity. That's what I'm talking
Bomb
about.
diggity. That's right.
I can't wait. I got I think Michelle interviewing her tomorrow. I think Friday I have an opening, so if anybody wants to come on the show and share their paranormal experience, Virginia, reach out to me if you're available on Friday. If not, we will make it happen. And then I got a paranormal investigation team that reached out to me last week, and I got them on Saturday morning. So it's pretty, and it was really cool. Is that one of the lead investigators, his dad was stationed at F.E. Warren Air Force Base, did the exact same job I did, was in the same squadron I was in at the same time I was. So,
wow.
Hopefully,
it's a big world, but it's a small world, man.
It is.
You never know. So, guys, that was awesome. I loved hanging out with you guys. Always, Daniel, it's good to hang out with you, man. And you guys are awesome. Go show him some love. And thanks for all the prayers again. Y'all are amazing. Just appreciate this community. So, man, I guess that's it, dude. I'm going to head out.
Yeah.
So don't miss Monday's episode. Yeah. Appreciate you too, buddy. Don't miss Monday's episode. Don't forget about the coffee. And you guys are awesome. And you know I'm going to say it. So it's so very, 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 very important. I say it every episode because I truly, truly mean it. Stay prayed up, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.